Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm sitting by the fire. Yeah, I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Good.
It's been a long time.
I know. Since
Yeah.
sorry, my phone just rang. Um, Almost a year, no? Was it January? Shoot, why
Yeah,
does
it was
it
back. Yeah, something around probably around January or so. Yeah.
Let me
I
try
think.
to-
Well, you and I spoke when I was in Peru. I know that.
Yeah.
We videoed back then, and I was there from last half of December to the first half of January. So yeah, it's good to see you. How you been holding up?
Well, that's a book. That's a long story.
Yeah, one day at a time, right? Sometimes, one breath at a time.
Yeah. What's that saying? Shovel snow,
Eat
like
shit.
no, the one where you just keep doing the simple things in front of you.
Well, there's 86,400 seconds in every day. So if you just come back to center 1 second at a
Well, yeah,
time,
yeah,
then you stay real present that way.
yeah.
So
But it's the saying that gives you the activity to do that keeps you being in the present moment, like kind of like wax on, wax off,
wax
shovel
on,
snow, eat.
wax off, all that stuff.
Yeah, I
But
like
ultimately,
shovel snow, eat shit.
yeah. How about shovel snow or eat shit? Yeah, I don't know. It's like I just say what comes to my mind.
Oh
Sometimes
my
gets
gosh,
public.
I love this. So,
Yes.
thanks for coming to my channel. It's called Inspired Moment Messages. So it's all
Yeah.
about being inspired,
Yeah.
being present in the moment, and then conveying that message, whatever that message is. There's no box, there's no template.
Yeah. I don't like boxes and templates anyway, so they don't work.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't work for me.
Yeah. So I have been, let me make sure I've got this good.
You got me real clear. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. I
Okay.
have been doing interviews, like I mentioned, based on a vision I had of myself like 25 or 30 years ago, where I was noticing that I was able to engage people, even people I didn't know, in conversations on topics that were really personal and that were maybe conversational topics that they didn't go into. They were kind of deep, or they didn't ever think about. They didn't adventure into that area. And so I loved it. And it really gave me a sense of deep satisfaction. And I love going deep. I love being real and raw and
That's all I can
heart-centered,
do.
and
I
so,
can't have lower vibration conversations anymore. Once I have my way,
yeah,
it's like
for
we're going
sure.
to go deep or we're not going to go at all.
For sure.
So like,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I've got the root chakra behind me, and then I noticed that I've got the on my shirt. That's not planned. So
I love
I've
it.
got this whole thing that someone made for me. It's got an eagle at the top, and there's a there's a colored stone in between on the chain, in between each chakra. It's the same color of that chakra. It's just somebody that never met me made that for me out of wood and sent it to me in the mail. So yeah.
I almost positioned myself in front of the fireplace here too, but I changed my mind at the last minute. So
That's all right. It don't matter. Yeah.
there's a lot of light in this house where I'm at right now. So light sometimes shines too brightly on one side, and you kind of become invisible. So working with it.
Yeah.
But so this interview today is about being recently under a spell of enchantment, illusion cast over you, or that you unintentionally stepped into and agreed to, whether it's temporary or whether it's lifelong or whether it's multiple lives, unconscious, and kind of being under this enchantment or this spell or this trance where you kind of put somebody or some idea or some person on a pedestal. And
I got a few examples of that, whether it be relationships or spiritual people that came into my life, you know, that I allowed to take control, you know, and I gave them my power, my fault, you know, I always come back to me. So I made these choices, you know, whether they were conscious or subconscious, you know, the subconscious mind continues to work in the background when we don't do the healing work, you know, and that's what attacks people, and they don't know it and they don't get it. It's like, why am I back in this? You know, they're either in this revolution or they're in evolution, you know, and it's choice, you know, and it's like, if you want to keep having the same stuff keep happening, you know, you then don't do your work to remove the veil, you know, of lies and deceit and illusion that, you know, that we're all sold, that we're all brainwashed with from childhood. You know, it starts as soon as we get out of the grave. I mean, as soon as not the grave, but as soon as we get out of the womb, you know, it starts. You know?
Absolutely.
It starts with our family of origin, and it starts with our religion, and it starts with our culture, and then they put us into these indoctrination camps, these schools. You know, and they put us with 35 other kids and say, okay, you're all going to learn the same thing the same way. Exactly. And we're all wired different. Everybody's got a different. You know, my daughter started stealing when she was 2 years old. She brought that in on a lineage, you know, karmic, you know, genetic level. She had that in her. It wasn't taught by her mother or me or anything that had happened. You know, she just started stealing stuff, you know, and it's something that's kind of, this idea of lack has been in her. Didn't matter how much, you know, we didn't lack for anything when they were growing up. You know, I did very well financially for a long time. So that wasn't it. So we bring something in that we got to work on. And that's what we're here to do. You know?
And so I'm going to back step for just a minute. I know I contacted you because I saw your post on Facebook and it prompted me to think of you as a great person to interview for this. But what was it about either what I said or the way I phrased the post or the interview that attracted you?
Oh, well, what attracted me was, you know, that morning I had mentioned your name to somebody, and then I got this message from you that same day. So I follow spirit. When stuff like that happens, I tend to act. And no, but about the, you know, you reached out to me about the putting people on pedestals. And, you know, what I realized for me is, you know, the work that started coming to me around this was that the women in my life and my veil that I needed to lift was that I was allowing these unhealthy, masculine carrying women to have dominion over me. You know, I was putting them on pedestals, whether it be people that were in the spiritual life, you know, that were giving me my spirit name and had all these amazing things happening. You know, I don't want to mention names, Linda Starwolf, but but anyway, but these gurus or masters are the people that I, you know, worked with for years in Sacramento on my inner child work and my forsaken child wounds. I think because they work with you for a long time that they can just control you and reach out and shame you and follow you. And I would always feel bad. And it's like, you know, I always went to them for answers when I'm the answer. I have the answer. I am the answer. So when I stopped looking on the outside for the answer and realized that I was born with everything I need, but this world puts that veil over us. So what attracted me was this, a lot of people do that, whether it's with their spouse or whether it's with a president that's not really him. Anyway, decline. Sorry about that. I've had a phone call come in. Sorry.
No worries.
So for me, you know, when I that illusion is self-inflicted, you know, until we learn to break it, until we learn to remove the veil, we're just trapped. We're stuck in the illusion that we're sold and brainwashed with from childhood on.
Yes. Yes. Your words are exactly words that I've spoken so many times. Right. By the way, let's have you introduce yourself because people are going to see this and they may not know who you are. And tell like your name, what state or country you live in right now, and then what your work in the world is.
Yeah, well, I go by Ocean Eagle. It's my spirit name. Some people call me Mo, you know, Marty, Ocean Eagle. Marty's my earth name. And Ocean Eagle is my a spirit name that was given to me by a spirit mother, and it's just stuck. A lot of people call me Mo for Marty Ocean Eagle. They call me Ocean, call me Eagle. Anyway, I currently live in Sedona, Arizona. I've been here about 7-8 months, and before that, I was traveling all over the world. I was in Cyprus in the Middle East, and people ask me what my work is in the world. Well, about 2.5 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening, and I stepped out of the 3D program world. I've been part of raising 6 kids, and my youngest is 16 now, and my daughter's 18, and my older boys are 24 and 26. And then I had a couple of stepchildren for a little while that are 10 and 14, 15 now, 10 and 15. So I've been raising kids and doing all the 3D stuff. I had a successful real estate company in Sacramento for a long time, 20 years, almost 20 years. And but when I had my awakening, everything changed because I decided to change everything. I decided to step out of this illusion that the world had sold that said, if I get the house, the car, I call them suffering boards. So, people asked me this year, hey, did you meet all your goals? I was like, I don't have any goals.
Exactly.
I don't have any plans. It's like these people that make these boards with all the stuff that they don't have, right? I call them suffering boards because you just get to look at a board all the time of the stuff you haven't achieved that you want to achieve. And it doesn't motivate me to go put stuff up. And but when you really fall in and start figuring out who you are and that you have an essence in this world and a purpose and a meaning that's above all this stuff that the world says you should have, because I had it all. Everybody said if you get the house, the car, the kids, and the job, you own your own company, do all this stuff, that you're going to be happy. And I wasn't. I was miserable. And so for me, if I had put a board of stuff up on a wall last year of everything I thought I wanted, I'd have got not one thing right. Because what I have today, I never knew I wanted. I didn't know I wanted this. It's none of my business. I realize now. And, I've wrote that in my, I'm an author. I've written co-authored a book, written another book, you edited it. And I've got 3 or 4 more coming out, real soon. So I'm an author. I'm deep into activation breath work. I take people through breath work regularly here in Sedona. I'm in Sedona, Arizona. And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so what's the breath work? What does that do? Just for people who are watching and they don't know.
Well, it's like holotropic, shamanic type of breath work. I call it activation breath work because as the chakras are behind me, it activates your chakras. I've got as many as 43 playlists now that I've channeled, and the music starts in your root chakra and works all the way up and out. It's about an hour and 10 minutes of breathing. And, what we're trying to do is activate your DMT, your own natural DMT, and activate your pineal glands. So there's a lot of touch. So I'm activating people physically. So I go around and I touch them, move energy in their feet, their solar plexus, their sacral area, their heart chakra, touch their third eyes and their crowns to try to activate them as things are going. And I get very energetic with people, I just had a big retreat here in Sedona where I did activation breathwork training. And I had 8 people in a private house for 4 days. Wow. And we did a lot of breath work. But I do fun things with the retreats too. I had a amazing private chef on site for the whole thing. Beautiful big house here. And then I'm really plugged in with some amazing local musicians here in Sedona. So Ashtani, you can find her on Spotify, Ashtani. She came in and played live for us. She's a kirtan singer. And we all chanted and sang and did kirtan one afternoon. And then the next afternoon, I had this incredible blues guitarist come in, JR, and his friend Fiona. She's from Ireland, and she's one of the best violinists on the planet. And so those 2 played for us and had lunch with us, So we had a really good time. We built a family those 4 days of people through the breath. We did art. We did a big, huge, we're going to sell it soon, and the money's going to go to a local nonprofit. But we did a whirling dervish, and my friend Navsheen came in from Sacramento and had penciled it And then we all painted on it the whole 4 days. And she's got
Whoa.
it back in Sacramento finishing it up. And I'll be auctioning that off. Then the money will go to a local nonprofit for the local headwaters here in the Sedona, northern Arizona area. And then we all did our own smaller paintings that we painted on. I had easels for everybody and acrylic paint. So it was a really, really amazing experience.
Yeah, a holistic, like incorporating all of you.
Sound, touch, art, music, really healthy food. All of it she makes from scratch. Everything, even the salad dressings, everything Chrissy Star. Everything's vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, all of it. So there's no alcohol allowed at my events ever. So it was a way to detox and cleanse for those that do drink alcohol. You know, I've been sober 22 years now. So, and I've never done a plant medicine. So there's none of that stuff that goes on. Nobody's allowed to smoke cigarettes at my retreats, you know, so you just got to put it all down for a little while. So anyway, yeah.
So as far as the breath work and where those energies are maybe stuck, how could you relate a sample of a symptom or a condition in life to the topic that we're talking about, which is, you know, being cast under this illusion? Where does that illusion come from? Does it enter through, you know, the mind first, and then it goes into the body in a certain center?
Well, if you think about it, you know, whenever we get triggered or we have a memory, you know, whether it's a person we've assigned energy to that shows up, and all of a sudden we get a shot through our body when that person's in our field, you know, so we've assigned energy to that person, that place, that thing, and it hits us in the eyes, the nose, the mouth, ears, touch first. That's where the hit happens. And then it releases into where that energy is stuck and stored in one of our 24 organs or multiple organs. So we have cellular conglomerate masses in our body, these black body mass or black body radiation that's in these things. In the next book I'm writing is called Rectifier Circuits. So you have these batteries, if you will, inside you that are storing. Your energy's not gone. You have all of your energy you were born with. You have it all. But we've assigned all these energetic. We've given our power away to these moments in time. These people, you know, even like if a woman was raped, right? That energy is assigned to that moment and that person that did that. And that's stuck on a cellular level. So when anything that reminds that person of that hits any one of these senses, it triggers a reaction in the body of sheer terror, anxiety. It's PTSD, you know. So that's one of the things that I actually do when I'm working with people. I got a men's retreat coming up January 20th through 24th at a beautiful home here, 6,000 square foot house with its own private yoga studio. So we're going to work on soul retrieval. We're going to do activation breath work, and we're going to do soul retrieval. What we need to do when we have these illusions, we're powerless. So we want to become more powerful. So we have to take those illusions of that person's on a pedestal because everybody else loves them and they're famous. Or I'm telling you right now, I don't know anybody that I've met that I've put on a pedestal that has met my expectations. None of them. They're humans. You know, so when we put expectations on people, places, and things, we get let down. So the lower my level of expectation, the higher my level of happiness. Because I don't set myself up like that anymore. You know, I it's not that I expect bad to come out of people. I just expect very little out of them.
Okay. And so why in the first place do we as a collective humanitarian, you know, why do we do that?
Well, we have this patriarchal system in place, right? So if you look at what's going on the planet right now, where you have this massive divide that's happened, right? With people that, you know, are wearing a mask and getting injections, and those that aren't wearing a mask, then they believe it's a fraud, right? Well, they're right and they're right, right? It's right versus right, right? It's not, you know, I don't understand people that can't see it, but that's my perception. But when we look at things on a genetic, cellular, DNA level, we'll understand that what's being triggered is not something that happened in this lifetime. if your lineage takes you back and your genetics take you back to, let's say, Egypt, and you were a slave in Egypt, well, this is triggering a different response for you. If you were in the Holocaust and reincarnated, from that time, well, this is triggering you in a different way. If you were in ancient Roman times, and you were, violated as a woman, or you were, shamed as a man, or you were burned at a stake for being a witch in the 1500s, or whatever it was, if you're in the Spanish Inquisition, if you look at all this stuff, everybody's reacting a little differently. And we don't, it should be just, we can see it, it's all bullshit, we're not going to do this anymore. We see what you're doing, but it doesn't work that way right now. And so I think people have stuff, what I had to realize is, like, I had to let go, because they just can't see it. They're not capable of it.
Yeah.
They can't see it the way I see it. It's not their fault. And when I got to that moment, I was able to pull back a little bit, so.
Okay. Yeah, same here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
I
had to
think-
send messages back to people saying, please, I'm good with where I'm at. I don't really want to engage. I don't want to continue the story and the battle.
Well,
right?
yeah, the stories, like, that's part of it too. It's the work we do through breath work, when we activate this stuff, and the demons, the beast within comes out. We get opportunities to see the people that maybe came into our life that affected us, that we're giving power to. So the revealing, the refeeling, and the rehealing process that I do, I grab as much light as I can and I go down in the dark. I just did this, it's like a cord cutting ceremony, and I pull that situation, that person, whatever it is, and I release that energy, and I take ownership though. I gave my brother energy for 27 years after his death. And
What do you mean by that?
He was very abusive to me when I was young. It affected my self-esteem.
But what do you mean you gave energy to him?
I gave him part of my power. He was still energetically, even after he died. I was still angry at him. And anger is a surface emotion that's hiding fear. So what was I still afraid of? Why was I so angry at him? Because we both went through so much as children. It was such a traumatic childhood. We had double alcoholic parents, and we saw things you shouldn't see as children, and shouldn't have to experience. We both had soul loss. We both had stuff that we really didn't have a chance. For me to be, I'll be 53 in a few weeks. For me to be sitting here after all that I went through is a miracle. There's a reason I'm here. So I have a great responsibility, I feel, to bring that to the world.
Yeah.
If I was kept alive through everything I went through, then when my awakening happened, I had to surrender to it. I had to accept the call in, and I had to let go of everything holding me back, and I had to trust the details are arranged.
Yeah.
So.
And so in your experience, you believe that the traumatic events that we are being triggered in this lifetime, and the reason we are putting people who are narcissistic or, control or whatever on pedestals, or we are believing the illusion, those traumas are all from past lives? Are any from current life?
No, we have stuff from this life, but it's overlaid on top of stuff from past life. It's like, you look at my dad, not my hero, buried that guy when, 12 and a half years ago, and I've still never shed a tear for him because of what he did in childhood and stuff, But as I look back at his life, he had massive trauma from this life. But if you look at his dad, he had it too. And if you look at his dad, he had it too. So when we do our inner work, we are healing our lineage. We're stopping the chain of wounding and trauma and suffering. The alcohol, I'm the only one, I'm the first one in my family on either side really to get sober. Some people followed suit. My mom's been sober. My mom actually got sober right when I did. And so when I look at that, then I get to walk the example, and I get to show my sons and my daughter, and I break that. None of my kids have addiction problems. My daughter likes to shop, but but none of them really have died. None of them have dove into alcohol or drugs. My daughter's 18, as far as I know, still a virgin. So the other thing we're healing right now is the masculine energy on the planet. That's what I was doing. I was picking women that were really wounded by the masculine. So they were victims, and I was going to come in and save them.
Got
And
it.
when all their masculine stuff started coming out, they started to, verbally berate me and control me, and then I was in fear, for some reason I was in fear because I had a lot of wounding from the masculine, and I had the wounding from the feminine and the masculine as well. So people, when I do these men's retreat, I always get a lot of feedback. It's like, thank you so much for doing this men's work. It's like, well, we got a lot of women that'll show up at events and do these retreats and do their healing work. But a lot of them are still stuck in the masculine. Until they can feel safe to let go of their masculine energy, men can't come back. So we got to get the women, to step more into their divine feminine. But we've got to work with these men that are willing to do the work, to come back to wholeness, to come back home, and to really understand what it's like, and I hold men a lot, and I hold them until they release into me, until they can really let go on a cellular level, just let go. Get your balls against mine, I'm safe. I'm not going to hurt you. Just take a breath and breathe it out with me, to where they can just really drop in. Because when a man learns to hold another man, he'll start slowly understanding what it takes to hold a woman.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So these illusions, these veils, whether we give it to teachers or to priests or to governors or to presidents, even our own parents, we can't set ourselves up for those falls, because we, sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice and it was just put on us. And that's part of the truth sometimes. Like, I'm not responsible for what happened to me as a kid, but as an adult, I'm in charge of my energy. I'm responsible for the energy I choose to give that person, place, or thing. Yeah.
I had a conversation on Christmas night with my son about women choosing a woman who is responsible for her own feelings,
right,
and emotions. And that's the ticket right there,
Yeah.
And I even got real with him, and we had several hours by ourselves, and offering from my heart, the willingness to go into questioning whether I contributed to any scenarios and beliefs that I passed down to him unintentionally, whether it's, about finding someone who needs to be rescued, or my mom was a victim of so-and-so, so I want to help other women, really helping him through me going in there with him. And so healing. I love those opportunities. I jump in every time I can.
Yeah. It's not just my mom, but it's like, when I was beaten on the outside of a door at age 7, when my dad's inside brutally beating and raping my mother, that kind of wounding, that kind of stuff, it takes a long time. It doesn't go away overnight, and so you got to heal a few things there. You got to heal the masculine father energy, what he did, and then was never around. No man showed up for me ever. I was ham and egging things my whole life, just making shit up as I went. And then my mom being stuck, she never went after, verbally berated my father after all the stuff he did. She never said a bad word about that man. But, she went and picked another one, that didn't physically abuse her, but was an alcoholic as well, so I trusted nobody or no thing, nothing ever stuck. Nothing was ever going to stick around. So when we look back at all that stuff that happened, and it's not your fault, well, I look at some of the stuff that I did raising my kids, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I wish I hadn't done that, but, it's part of it. I didn't have a model.
I have 13 years apart between my two boys. So I got a chance to really see how differently I did it, and be more present and more compassionate with the second one.
Well, that's it. It's like I talk, so many women raising kids by themselves. These men are just checked out and gone. It's like, it's like pulling teeth sometimes when I do these men's retreats to get men to come. And it's not like it's a ton of money that I charge. I don't do it to, get rich. I do it because men need to do the damn work. So get your ass over here to Sedona. Come to my retreat. It's a beautiful home. And let's do some breath work, and let's do some writing, and let's do some fire ceremonies. Let's burn this shit off. Let's write it down. Let's find the beast within and let's conquer them so you can come back, so that these women that are in your life feel safe to be vulnerable with you, because they don't,
Yeah. I mean, from my own experience, which is not what I'm going to go into right now, but I didn't attract my soulmate, the love of my life, until 17 months ago. And I'm 61.
Yeah.
Well, I had to do a lot of work. I had to have a lot of alone time for myself, years, and really love myself. And that was something when I first started going through that process, I thought, that's just a weird concept. What do you mean I don't love myself? What do you mean I have to figure out the work to love myself? Isn't it just natural that we love ourselves? I really had to go in deep,
No, not.
Yeah.
We've got the false ego mask out front.
Yeah.
This thing that protects me. Because if I take this down and let you see who I am, you'd hate me, because I'm full of shame. I have all this stuff in my past that I'm not proud of. All this stuff that tells me I am my past. And that's a lie. That's a lie. I am who I am today, and the choices I make today and moving forward. It's 24 hours at a time. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist. So I stay real present, the moment. It's like, am I better today than I was yesterday? That's my measure. Am I better? Am I as good or better today? And that's it. Did I make a mistake? Who did I harm? And if I've harmed somebody, or if I owe somebody something, you clean it up quick. Don't let it sit there.
There you go. Yeah, like you took care of your realizations right away that you had given your power away to these women who you had, or women and men, maybe, I'm not sure, put on pedestals. I noticed myself doing that. There's a pattern in me that I noticed in these last couple years, which is someone I didn't know, what I was introduced to. I put them on a pedestal because of either their money or their fame or their work in the world, or the way they presented themselves or the way they looked. But every single time, without fail, with every single relationship, as I got to know that person better and better, I eventually rose up in my own self-love and awareness and frequency, and never looked at them on a pedestal again. Realized, wow, everything I need, like you said, is inside me. And I see why I saw them that way. I see why I needed to put that person on that pedestal, why that was a habit in a cycle that had been going on for God knows how long. So
those people we call in are just projections of our inner world. So anything that we have inside of us that's not serving us, that we haven't worked on, is going to get exposed. And it comes in the forms of soul contracts. Everybody thinks, soulmate, well, if you look up kind of the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame, a soulmate, or contracts we made before we came here, it could be a kid, it could be a daughter, a son, a parent. These soul contracts come and go. The real suffering happens is when we don't let them go. When we try to hold on to a lesson that's already should be learned, and just move on. When we don't, we stay in relationships too long. We don't learn the lessons that our kids are trying to teach us. They're sent here to teach us.
Exactly.
Like I always look at parents that are saddled with kids with disabilities. Why them and not me? I don't think I'm wired for it. If I'd had a kid with a major disability, I'm a good person. I got a great heart. I'm sure the situation dictates, but I look at that and I'm like, we've all got an essence and a purpose and a reason for being here. These soul contracts come in many different forms, but when they're done, they're done. And we got to learn, let go. It's a different time than the old days when this dream of being married to somebody for 70 years, it's like, I've been married 3 times, it's like, I'm never getting paper married by a government again.
Same.
Ever.
Same.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah. I said yes to an agreement with someone I considered was my best friend for 9 years, and in late August, early September. And I knew I was saying yes because we had work to do. I didn't know what the end result would be. I didn't know how intense it would be, but within a couple of weeks, I knew it was a contract that was being, like a volcano. It was like spewing out. And so it's complete. It's done. It was powerful. It was
Yeah.
traumatic. But it taught me so much. It showed
Yeah.
me, it was a mirror to show me where I had been doing something my entire life that I'm no longer
Well,
doing.
you know, the other thing that we have to do is we have to learn to set, not just set boundaries, but we have to hold tight. Because when I set a boundary and I honor that boundary by saying no,
Yeah.
everything changes, everything goes well. When I move a boundary, I open anxiety, I open suffering, I open fear every time I do it. Like one of the relationships I had, I've only had a few in the last few years, but I had a line in granite that I was not going to date anybody that had kids. I was done. I've raised 6 kids. You know, I'm done. Nobody with young kids, and I moved that boundary. You know, and sure enough, it came in to bite. It came in to bite me, you know, because the ex came and got involved, you know, and the back and forth with the kid. And I've done all that. I'm done. That part's all finished with me. But because, you know, whatever reasons, you know, I wanted to make up and rationalize and justify not loving myself and not honoring myself. You know, I paid a price, but I learned the lessons quick now. I don't let them linger. I learned the lesson and I move on. Got it. I understand. And move on.
For sure.
You know, but you have to have an awareness about them. You have to see them.
Yeah.
If you can't see them, then you're just a victim. You know,
And you have to put yourself first. You can't put someone else first and say, oh, but it will cause hardship, or, oh, you know, we do that.
No people pleasing.
No.
I'm not a people pleaser. Nope.
Yeah.
My world's real small these days. You know, my bubble, my inner circle's very small. You know, I don't have to have some big world or anything like that anymore. I got a lot of followers and stuff, but they're not in here. That's a very sacred, safe place that only a few people are allowed in. So
yeah,
because I don't trust most people with my life and with my personal information. So
yeah. So how has your life changed from honoring those boundaries and breaking the spell of enchantment and illusion and pedestals?
Yeah.
How has your life changed?
Well, I don't answer to anybody. I'm it. You know, I'm the alpha and the omega for me. You know, I don't look outward for my answers anymore. I don't call that person or that person, because anybody's telling you how you should live your life or what you should do, they don't have any business telling you that. So I'm the answer. You know, I have this infinity symbol of you know, energy moving in. And when I drop the energy in, and it comes down into my heart center, down to my gut, my intuition, and back through my heart and out, you know, that's my heart brain talking at that moment. And that's my truth coming out. So I trust this only. I'm the teacher and the student in here, you know, so the information from, you know, whoever, you know, this Joe Dispenza's, I see people go to these retreats, you know, I'm not knocking anybody, but they'll go to a Joe Dispenza retreat and they'll come back and they've put him on a pedestal and they'll start spewing out everything they heard at that retreat. Well, that's Joe Dispenza's truth.
Right.
You haven't applied that into your life. So I apply information into my life to get the wisdom behind it through my experience. That's it. I don't go you know, I didn't break my back and heal myself. Joe did. You know, I wasn't a chiropractor and doctor. I don't have any of that stuff. You know, what Joe does and what Tony Robbins does and what Ram Dass did and Wayne Dyer and all these people, Rumi, they're not me. Yeah. So for me, it's like, it's empowered me to let go of all this. I cut the cords recently with a lot of these people that I was given power to, and most of them were women. You know, that's my fault. But I cut that cord of energy, and I had ceremony. So I become more powerful every time I do that. I pull my power back in, and now I don't have any gurus. I don't have any masters. I don't have any teachers. You know, I have information that comes in. Same. And then I'm the teacher, I'm the guru, I'm the master.
Yes.
You know, I'm in school of self-mastery. When I write stuff and when I post stuff, you know, it's not from a place of perfection. You know, it's from a place of my personal wisdom through my experience. That's it. If I'm saying anything else, I'm making the shit up or I'm stealing somebody else's stuff.
That's right. Yeah. A big beef of mine is the way we live as a regurgitating society.
Yes.
Regurgitating what everyone else has said and done.
Get it back out. We're just parents.
Just vomit.
Just parents. It's like, I hear it.
It's everybody. It's gurus too.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
It's like they just steal stuff. And it's like when I write the books and when I'm doing stuff, right, and everything I got in my computer that I've been writing, that's me. It's my experience. Spirit told me I'm going to bring a message to the world through your story. So I don't grab anybody else's, it's authentic. If I didn't experience it, then you could ask me questions about this. If I didn't have any experience with it, I wouldn't sit here and just give you lip service and tell you I got some information for you when I don't. If I don't have it to give, I don't share it.
Yeah. I say, I don't have an agenda. I don't have a template. I'm not in a box. I'm just holding space energetically for you to find you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the words. I'm not going to tell you the way.
No.
I'm going to show you where you can find you, because that's where you're going to find everything.
I'm going to open the door.
Yeah.
And I'm going to light a path.
Yeah.
You want to walk it, walk it. You don't, I don't care. None of my business. I'm just taking you to the water. It's up to you to drink.
Perfect.
It's none of my business what you do with the information.
I love it. So what have you learned most recently about yourself that you didn't know before, because you have set these boundaries, cut the cords, broken the spells?
I understand that on a very deep level, when we have access to our divine light, and when we shine that I have the ability to affect people. I have the ability to help people. And it's coming from a place of my true heart. And I just want to give inspiration and hope. And I understand that as we wake up and as we, shed the skins of the past, that we really can affect a lot of people. And I know I have that ability. I watch it happen all the time. And, shoot, I'm showing up, like, I don't know, in the last week and a half, I've shown up in 5 people's dreams, that have never met me, so I don't know what's going on with me right now. It's like, I stay in surrender to it. It's not ego. I didn't do any of that. I'm not trying to hop in people's dreams that I don't know. And so I just understand that, with my awakening, with my ability to surrender to it, that something's coming through that I'm meant to do. And I have the ability to affect people. But I got to get out of the way. I got to let go of all those illusions, and I got to shuck all that stuff. Yeah. Because a lot of these people in my life that have taught me, that have guided me, they've almost all of them wanted me to hop on their dream.
Exactly.
They've wanted me to step into what they're doing. Hey, I want you to come be a part of this. I want you to co-author a book with me. I want you to do this. I'm like, no, my mission's, sovereign. So I stay in my sovereignty. I don't fall into that, ego stuff, or I don't do anything for money. I've had all the money. That's not my motivation. Money comes, money goes. My motivation is to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of not being codependent or under any illusions anymore is understanding the truth of who you are without ego in the way, but really, right? Giving yourself permission to know who you are and what you're doing and why you're here.
Well, but that's where the inner work comes in, because people try to get there and they bypass and they don't want to go do the work. I did years, 3.5, 4 years of deep inner child wounding work, the forsaken child's wound, my abandonment wounds. I did the work on that stuff. So when this person in front of you, even my little child can come play now. He comes out, he's really cool, man. He's really cute. So he comes, I don't know how to play again. I think that's where, when we do enough work, that we get back to the child. And before all this stuff happened, we get back to that. When we would dig a hole in dirt with a stick, didn't care about getting paid for it, or we'd make a fort, right? We weren't looking for money or anything like that. We're just playing. So I think that's where we got to get back to. Everybody's so serious. Everybody's so stressed out. Just got to learn how to play again. Yeah. But you got to do the work. And people want to bypass, and they really want to figure out who they are and what their purpose is or their essence is. Then you have to clear the wreckage of your past.
Yes. So many times say something and it resonates so much with. In fact, you're going to love the post on my Facebook. If you get a chance from last night, take a look at it. And it's everything we're talking about here. So speaking of dates and times in this linear timeline that we are in, this illusion that we're living in, today is December 31st, 2021. Does that have any significance for you? Is there anything you want to know? It's just, yeah.
I don't celebrate holidays. I don't celebrate Christmas, these fake pagan holidays. I've studied all the research and studies behind all this crap. So for me, it's like, I'm going to have a fire tonight. I've got one going already behind me. And I'm just going to chill out. And it's like, it's a sun up, sun down for me. Yeah. I take things one day at a time. I don't put any more. Tomorrow's no more special than today. Yeah. So I make today as special as I can. And everybody's, 20, 22, and it's like, I'm a numerology guy. I'm all in numbers. But, do I put any significance on January 11th because it's 11222?
Right. Same.
No, it's cool, people are having special events here in Sedona. We got a lot of mystical people here that are doing, 1/11/2022 event, like I can do it on 1/12/2022 as well. It doesn't matter to me, so I don't put a lot of significance on that. I do like numbers, and I watch them when they show up for me. When I see, Triple H show up all day, then I have an awareness. When I see 555 show up all the time, or quadruple 5 show up all the time, I have an awareness about it.
Yeah. I call them the synchronistic breadcrumbs that we follow.
Yeah. My guides are active and they're with me,
Love it.
That's what I feel like, they're trying to, sometimes I'll have a thought come in, I'll be driving down the road and 1111 will show up, right. And so I go right back. Okay. What was I just thinking about?
Okay.
What did I just say? Because to me, that ties in somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what one, Jewel, if you could pick one thing that you could just pass on as the highest relevance or empowered statement for anyone watching about beginning to live a sovereign, independent, self-aligned individual rather than following the spells and the traditions and the conventions that we've all been led to believe, what would that be?
I think you got to get out of the way. You got to flow like water. We want to beat our heads up against stones that are never going to move. So when we learn to navigate and flow around and over and under and through, and we stop trying to, why struggle and fight when complete surrender will get you everything you ever wanted? You ever thought, you didn't even know what comes in surrender is stuff that you don't even know that you wanted it.
Yeah.
So I think, just for people to just get out of the way, and just open your heart, because what happens is, if you can't get out of here, you can't get here. And there's a pathway between our higher self and our intuition, our heart. But it comes and it gets spun in here and spit out. So we don't ever get to this point where it just flows, it's just energetic, and it's all, because we send it out this way too, we send it out. So whatever we're building in our chest, we have it come through, we get our essence and our purpose, and then we send it out into the world. And we send out a frequency and a resonation and a vibration out there that is either our truth or it's just a made up version that our mind told us, So I choose to live in truth. So I think that's the biggest thing. Find your truth, not someone else's truth. Find your true essence and do your inner work. Yeah. Don't shy away. Don't take shortcuts. I got my own version of plant medicines, it's like, no ayahuasca, no San Pedro, just you, you're the answer. You got everything you need inside. You're born with it.
Beautiful. One more question, which I should have asked before that, but I just thought of it. Why do you think this time that we're all experiencing is so much upheaval and so much is breaking like the shell of our awareness? And I know it's painful for humanity. Why do you think it's happening?
Well, it's not painful for me because I see
not for you, but for people who are struggling to believe everything they've been taught.
Yeah, well, you got to throw your televisions in the damn trash, and that'll end it in a heartbeat. You got to stop listening to because all the mainstream media on the planet's owned by by the top dark forces on the planet. All of it, and it's all being controlled, manipulated.
Is it just because we're reaching a tipping point when
Well, you got to go back into ancient times. You got to go back into Atlantean times. You got to go back into the Egyptians and Thoth. And you got to understand that we're at 25,920 year precession of the equinoxes. They wrote about this. They had the number. They had it nailed. So it's the wobbling of the earth. These precession of the equinoxes, and that's 25,920 years. That's where we are. They wrote about this. They had it. The Mayans, their long count calendar, which by the way had 5 Baktuns in it. And each Baktun possessed 144,000 days. Shocker. So the Mayans, Baktuns were 144,000 days, 5 of them. That added up to the point where 2012 happened. And that was just a dying of an old way of being. That was a dying of a consciousness. Right. So this age of Aquarius that we're in right now, where this you can't be a false prophet and survive this. You can't, because you can't be a false prophet. You can't be putting out this stuff that they're putting out. They're not going to make it. There's a lot of people who are going to die with them because they can't see it or won't see it. But those of us that can see it, we're going through. So I think this precession of the equinoxes, this planetary alignments, it's not an accident. Millionaires don't follow astrology, billionaires do, and they don't tell us what they're doing. They don't tell us the secrets. So it's not an accident that they planned, this global pandemic on the exact year when Saturn and Jupiter were conjuncting for the first time in 700 years on the winter solstice. I was at 14,500 feet last year at this time. I was at Intipunku, doing a ceremony, calling in, opening the portal of Aquarius to open the light codes so they can come in. But that's not an accident that it happened on that alignment. They plan this stuff and they use planetary alignments. If you look at all the chemtrail spraying they're doing, they really ramp up on eclipses, lunar and solar eclipses. A lot more spraying going on around them. A lot more. I counted the last eclipse we had here. I counted 27 chemtrail lines in the air over Sedona. So they know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose. They're taking advantage of whatever light codes, photon light, whatever you want to call it's coming in the planet. And they're using that to their benefit. They've done that for years. They've done it for a long time. So every 100 years, we have an issue that comes up. This time we had, what's going on with COVID now. And back, we had the Spanish flu exactly 100 years ago. And before that, we had another one 100 years ago. Before that, my partner over in Cyprus, Dr. Catherine Demetriadis, you can look this up, actually. It's go on the internet and look up the emotional biophysics of COVID-19 by Dr. Catherine Demetriadis. She proved COVID and karma are tied in together scientifically. And so emotional biophysics of COVID-19. Yeah. So
fascinating. So if anyone watching wants to get a hold of you for a session or a conversation or
go to oceaneagle.org for everything. Oceaneagle.org. You'll see my men's retreat coming up. I just booked Sedona Hot Yoga for February 12th. That's a 4.5 hour long couples partner breathwork Valentine's event that I'm going to do. And we'll do breath work and we'll do art and we'll have a lot of food, yummy food and stuff to do. And I got other stuff coming up too. I got another co-ed retreat I'm going to do. That'll be another really nice event. They'll come late February, 1st March. So everything's going to be at oceaneagle.org. You can have links to my books and we'll got some more.
And what's your most recent book that they can pick up if they want?
The Gift of Inspirations. Yeah, The Gift of Inspirations. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can find it everywhere. And then we're going to work on The Gift of Desperation. And then I'm going to work on Salt. And then I'm going to finish The Flight of Ocean Eagle. I got an outline done for that already. Well, half of it. So, yeah, a lot of stuff coming up.
The Gift of Desperation. What a great name for 2021 or 2020.
The Gift of Desperation, A Journey Back to Me.
Yeah.
My essence, M-E, my essence. Yeah, that's a thought with an expansion with an affirmation at the bottom. And I got about 112 of those in there right now. I might expand that a little more. So we'll see. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for asking me to be here. I appreciate it. So much love and blessings to everybody on the journey. Don't be afraid. Let go of fear. Fear is the disease. Fear and ignorance. Fear and ignorance are going to kill you. There's nothing out there else.
There you go. And ignorance is just a symptom of being afraid to look at the truth, right?
If you're not looking for it, then you're subject to what people are telling you. If you're not doing your own research, real research, authentic, real research, not just going on to CNN and reading what the hell's on there, that's not research. That's the propaganda machine. That's the CIA. That's programming. So you got to get out and find the real stuff. So
yeah,
before it's gone.
In search.
In search, right, yeah, in search, and be a well-being, right? Got to be a well-being.
Okay,
Right.
well,
Love.
mwah. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
All right, bye
Bye.
now.